Welcome back, everybody. It's the last day of January, the 31st. 11 more to go, and we hope that it's going to be better, or we know it's going to be better than the last 12 months. And we look forward to a year of healing, a year of harmony. And we've mentioned this before, but Unity's theme for 2012 from the headquarters, they have a theme each year, and it is how to stay centered no matter what. Well, we've certainly experienced no matter what, we've had to keep going. And we know that the Unity 12 powers and other ways of expression have always helped us. And they say, discover the role the 12 powers and more have played in our life to help us keep centered. And we know that we are very, very well expressed and equipped to keep centered. So you don't want to hear too much from me, but we were going to have 3 speakers. I don't know whether Jeanette will come on in time, but I've asked a couple of people here how they have kept centered. And the first one is Jenny Louise. Welcome along, Jenny.
Thank you, and good morning, everybody. So I don't know about you, but for me, staying centered no matter what is going on in my life, can be quite challenging at times. And whether it's a personal issue, such as a financial burden, or a global issue, such as what we're going through now with the coronavirus pandemic, I sometimes feel overwhelmed by what is going on around me and can struggle to find that place of peace within. However, there are several tools I use that help me find that place of peace, and I'd like to share them with you in the hope that my experiences might inspire you to try something similar or might simply affirm what you're already doing. So one of the tools I use to stay centered is one that Unity recommends, and that is the practice of meditation or going into the silence. However, my way of meditating is quite different from traditional forms. I find it very challenging to sit in the silence for any length of time, partly because what often happens is I fall asleep, even if I'm sitting up. And so instead of going into a place of peace where I can rest in the center of my being, as I said, I either fall asleep or I just struggle to shut off my noisy mind. So one practice that I've discovered that does help me to still my mind and find a place of peace within and silence is making my mandala drawings. And Wayne is kindly going to share 6 of my more recent designs with you now, some of which I've made during January using the colour blue, which is the Unity colour of the month for January, as you know. The process of drawing and colouring these designs is very meditative for me, and I will often choose to sit down and draw when I'm feeling overwhelmed, anxious, or troubled, as I take the time to focus on the creating of a mandala type design and allow myself to let go of whatever may be troubling me. I often reach a place of no thought, a place of stillness where I find peace. And within that peaceful stillness, I find my center. And when I am there, I know that I have access to all I need to be able to manage whatever situation is going on in my life. And as Unity says, we have access to the 12 powers and we can develop them to help us stay centered no matter what. Another tool I use is to say the prayer of protection, which I believe is by James Dillett Freeman. I meant to check that and I forgot, sorry, so I apologize if I'm wrong. But if I'm feeling off center or in need of a positive reminder that all is well, this prayer is very reassuring. And occasionally I will simply say the last line, wherever I am, God is, and all is well. This prayer is one of the most affirmative and calming prayers I know. And often I say it at any time, anywhere, silently and occasionally out loud, usually when I'm by myself. And I find it very helpful in staying centered. Another prayer I use, or I guess you'd probably call it an affirmative phrase, is simply "Peace, be still," as Jesus said to the waters and the storm that was raging when he was in the boat with his disciples. Whether I'm calming my own anxious thoughts or feelings, or whether I'm speaking intentionally about a particularly troubling situation, these three words often have an immediate effect in helping me find my inner peace and balance. So, simple affirmative prayers are particularly helpful for me in my desire to stay centered. And I'd just like to quickly read a quote from the book The Five Principles by Ellen Debenport about affirmative prayer. It's in the chapter on communion with God. And what she says is, in affirmative prayer, we are remembering who we truly are as expressions of the eternal life force on earth. And we are taking time to align our thoughts and feelings with our highest good. We affirm our well-being, that our needs are filled, and that there is no lack in the universe. She says, of course, the universe does not need our words. It responds to energetic vibration. Words resonate within us. We say them for our own sakes. They clarify our thoughts and intentions. They are the voice by which we call forth what we want from the field of possibilities. End of the quote. And so that is a way that we can help ourselves to stay centered no matter what. And finally, the third tool or practice I use that I find very helpful is to choose one of my spiritual books from my bookshelf and open it randomly and then read a sentence or passage from the page that I've turned up. This may be a unity book such as Lessons in Truth by H. Emily Cady, or of course The Five Principles by Ellen Debenport, or it could be one of many writers that I enjoy, such as Wayne Daya or Alan Cohen or Dr. Joe Dispenza, and so on. And often the message is exactly what I need to hear, or it's the answer to a question I've asked the universe during the week. If I'm troubled or feeling unbalanced at any time, this practice can be an easy and very satisfying way to change my vibration from anxious to calm, from despondent to inspired, or from worried to at peace in a matter of moments. And once again, I find my center and I'm ready to face whatever may be on my path at that moment or in the day ahead. So I hope that what I've shared today is helpful for you in your quest to stay centered no matter what. And I wish you all the best in that for 2021. Thank you.
Thank you, Jenny. Jenny, of course, has
You're welcome.
wonderful skills, multi-skilling with us, and thank you for your music as well. That was a great insight to how to keep centered. Thank you.
Thank you.
And it's a pleasure now to welcome Daya. Welcome along, Daya. Now, if you unmute, and there we go. Thank you. Welcome.
Thanks so much. And thanks very much, Jenny and Bill, for this opportunity. Listening to Jenny, I think I'm going to say that my take on the request from Bill, and I responded immediately when he called last week. I said yes, because I had just made a grand decision that it was time for my heart, my body, heart, and soul to be in one place, thanks to COVID. So I would like to share it from my personal journey this last year. When I arrived back in Melbourne, just before the serious lockdown, and I think I came in 2 or 3 days before, when you had to be compulsory self-isolate for 2 weeks, anybody who was coming into the country. And I was at Unity, and I think I unfortunately mentioned that I had just come back a few days ago, which means I should have been at home and not at Unity. And I think there was a bit of a shockwave when I said that. Anyway, the point is, you know that I've been, for those who know me from the time I've come to Unity, been traveling. And when I look back, I cannot imagine how I did it, because there was a deep purpose. Yet, after running workshops in Africa for young school kids and for the child soldiers in Sri Lanka and the at-risk youth in Malaysia, and then for kids in preschools who were not able to cope with learning and life skills, and running a trauma workshop in Europe in 2019, I arrived back and the realization hit me that I needed centering, I needed healing. I was in turmoil simply because I had lost my parents in the last 2 years. And most of my reasons for traveling was to be with them. So when I look back, being so scattered with all the things you're doing, and you can't really do anything properly when you're all over the place, and giving your best and caring for parents in between, I actually tapped into the happy rich resource that was known to me, and we started online trauma healing workshops. Actually, it was very simple. I just had to do one on family tree and genealogy. That took a couple of months, from I think May, June, and that helped with a lot of tears to just connect with the past to the present into the future, to let go and find healing. And at the same time, the president of the international group that Mohan and I are part of, we volunteer our services, and that's what takes us to Europe every summer of the Northern Hemisphere, sent out a message saying not to let the good opportunity of a crisis, the COVID crisis, pass by. And instead of meeting face to face, we just got online, and we met online for a whole year now. So from just being Melbourne based and meeting in our center in Turek or coming to church, suddenly church went online, and all our meetings went online internationally. And we started a weekly meeting called I Listen. In fact, it was twice a week when it started in the intensive COVID period, which was everything that Jenny was, different resources made available through reading, coming together as an international community, looking out for the ones who were in isolation without the support system. We just met online. Some had internet problems. So it was where we would have a quiet meditation, and someone would have a subject for the day or a story of change. And we would all get into small groups online and discuss this. And it continues. In fact, Mohan and I are running the next one on Tuesday. It's international, and it runs twice in a day for this time zone and for the Americas. And it's just 1 hour. Sometimes it goes beyond because people want to share. It's a time where people came together to actually let go of their fears, their challenges, and find this comradeship that made us recognize that we're all here to make the world a better place. And sometimes our humanness needs help along the way. So that's the gist of it. And the realization last week is I've also been on the board for the local national organization of this group called Initiatives of Change. And we've been working so hard online to bring about some changes. And I had a sense that it's time for me to even step down and just claim my life with myself, from make the choice of just not being available to the every good idea that comes along that I feel I can give support to, that I'm taking ownership of who I am with Mohan, That's why he's already on a sabbatical for the last year, and he's sticking to it because he's just done so much. And one of the major complaints was I wasn't here when he really needed that extra support because he was carrying amazing responsibilities. But the point, I think, is we've both come to a point where the journey together was to really take on this work that made a difference to our personal lives. And through coming to Unity, it strengthens this amazing international fellowship through a new thought and a unity principles that govern life, which is similar to where we are with initiatives of change. And in the end, it comes down to who am I and what am I here for in this phase of my life. So I hope um, I hope I've done justice to the invitation. But thank you so much for giving me a chance to connect with absolutely what's happening in the heart and the soul. And I just want to say this, that I was so touched when Biden in his speech said, do not make your hearts rigid. Open your soul to America, which I thought was just so profound. And that's why I chose to use the word body, heart, and soul, because I think that's what really integrates us. And we're all here, to help each other just find that peace and purpose that we're born with. And my God, what a struggle sometimes to get it right. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Wow, thank you, Daya, for sharing that your profound wisdom with us. And we're so fortunate that you and Mohan come and see us, and we look forward to our continued association. And we'd like to learn a little bit more as the year goes on about how your work is making a difference in the world with initiatives of change. Thank you very much. And we'll hear from you again, we hope. Thank you. Well, Jeanette's not here, but we had a standby waiting in the wings, the understudy. And usually the understudy doesn't get a chance to come on, but ta-da! Wendy, welcome along.
Golly gosh. Hello, everybody. That's going to be a very hard act to follow in just a few moments' notice, but I'll try and do my best. Very much like Jenny and Daya have already said, last year was very challenging, but we're all here. We made it. For me personally, and for Duncan, I loved lockdown. I know that sounds really silly saying it, but it gave us a chance to stop all the noise in whatever way, shape, or form you want to call it. And just for the first time, I call it our first honeymoon, which lasted most of the year, which was wonderful. To be able to just be centered at home in ourselves, look after, Dunk's dad, who hasn't been very well, have limited in-person contact. Yes, it was difficult, but we had online and we embraced it. And for us, I speak for Duncan as well, we turned to our creative sides, me to my art, Duncan to his music, and definitely keeping the teachings of unity at the very core of our being. Every day, I'd say my prayer, I was in the right place at the right time, right here, right now. I say that, I don't know, a zillion times a day. So just very briefly, I just wanted to share a few things that I did before last year and continued diligently last year to do. Every morning, I pick a card from my angel cards. I use these aromatherapy cards, and I pick my scent for the day. And with the cards comes a book which tells you what the scent of the day is and gives you something to focus on for the day. And what the card you picked is telling you is whatever oil you need. Say it was, lime, you needed some freshness, you needed some fresh air, or something like that. Whatever the card I pick, and they're beautiful cards, absolutely beautiful cards. Beautiful cards. Hang on, I'm just gonna take off my background, so otherwise, sorry, forgive me. So they're just absolutely beautiful handmade cards by an Australian artist and an Australian designer. So that was the first thing I do every morning with my cup of lemon water. After the aromatherapy card, I pick one of my angel cards. And this is an inner peace set by Wayne Daya. So I pick a card which will have the message. And my message was this one today, which says, I live my life in my own way. And Duncan had a good giggle at that. He goes, it's always been Wendy's way. It always will be. And I think I've embraced, yeah, Dunk, laugh away, ha, ha, ha. I think I've always embraced that mantra that I am who I am. I'm never going to change. I continue to educate myself to live the best life possible. And that's what I do. And finally, just my art. This is what I do every day. And last year, like Jenny and her beautiful mandalas, I would just splash paint every day, just splash paint, no particular purpose, no particular rhyme, no particular reason. And from this will come something where I will create a page eventually. Sorry, just let me find the page. So it's stuck together. Please forgive me. So this was a page, and that says, art is not a hobby, it is how you live. So for me, embracing my art last year and listening to music and just being home and being centered and having all of you, on Zoom every week and my other friends on Zoom every week, it was a time of great connection. It was a time of, for me, it was a time of great empowerment because it made me stop. It made me think, like Daya was saying, come back to within myself and just be who I really wanted to be and be free to be who I wanted to be. And for that, I was grateful for that. And that's how I got through last year and continue to embrace that this year. And even when things, like this morning, the NBN's gone for Rath and Jeanette, and Reverend Bill and I are messaging each other going, hang on, I can say a few things if you'd like me to. So there's always a way, there's always a divine way. And Reverend Bill, I think Duncan's managing to share that video as well. Between Wayne and Duncan, they've sorted that out. So hopefully that can happen. So I just would like to say, I would like to encourage you to take that moment. Yeah, thanks, Sheila, for the message. That's hilarious. Thank you. I would just like you to encourage that moment, whatever it is. I'm not saying you have to be an artist or a musician or anything like that, but just have a cup of tea. Just you, yourself, maybe the daily word, maybe something that you love to read or anything. Just get out in your backyard or your balcony or nature and just embrace 10 minutes every day just for you to be you and feel you and live the most wonderful life possible. Thank you, Reverend Bill.
Wow, thank you, Wendy. And that's confirmed what I've always believed in. Spirituality is expressed in the arts in the most wonderful way. And we have some very artistic and creative musical people with us here today. So thank you to our three speakers today. And no longer an understudy, you're the star. Okay, and we've also got another special person. We've got a great committee too. They've been working wonderfully in the background, and you